So I'm John Levesque. I'm the host of 5 Minute Major. Like I said, a podcast about great people in hockey, junior, OHL, and minor hockey. And today's guest is Lindsay Hofford, the founder and CEO, president, Lindsay?
CEO and founder of Pro
CEO
Hockey.
and founder. And that's it, Pro Hockey Development. Well, thank you so much for giving me some time and being willing to want to obviously share your story with everybody and talk a bit about the sport that we both love so much. So thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to help.
Yeah, 100%. Well, listen, man, I you and I got to meet through my son. That's probably how you meet a lot of parents, I would think, through the game, as through their kids. So maybe take us back, Lindsay, a bit on, we'll start back at the beginning, just maybe how you got into the game. Well, actually, let's start a bit first. Just talk a bit about who you are first, an introduction from your own words. I think it's always better to start that way. And if you don't mind, just share a bit about yourself and we'll get going that way.
Yeah, I can start basically from the start. Basically, I'll keep it all hockey related, but basically started playing hockey in Sudbury in the outdoor rinks, probably when I was like 4 years old, and played, through minor hockey into junior hockey and then university at the University of Guelph. Had like obviously a strong will to play in the National Hockey League, as all kids did at that time. Everybody was playing hockey much more so than probably today, as far as this portion of the population. And then moved to out of university, started working. I worked for about 3 years in the sales marketing field, and from there started coaching. I was moved to Woodbridge, Ontario, Vaughan, and had kind of lost that competitiveness that's when you're playing hockey. And I was looking to find it somewhere, and I was driving down Highway 7 and they had an ad for coaches, and I took the number down and called and was interviewed by Sam Ciccolini and Al Doria and Billy Harris, the former Toronto Maple Leaf player. Probably, I think, the 60s or 50s. I actually went to his hockey school when I was like 5 years old, believe it or not, in North Bay. So reconnected with him. Not that he knew who the heck I was, but yeah, so I ended up getting the job there, and I just coached minor hockey for, I think, 5 years, and we had lots of success. We were the first team that from the Minor Hockey Alliance and the Vaughan Kings to win, which was the OHL Cup now, but it was the Canadian Tire Cup back then. And we back then it was more like a provincial thing. It was the Ottawa entry, the GTHL, the Alliance, OMHA, and then the host team. And it was in actually Kenora, Ontario, way up north. So we flew into Winnipeg and took a bus to Kenora. And we ended up winning that. It was on TV, so which was kind of cool. Yeah. So I won that, and then I moved on to junior hockey. So I coached Thornhill as an assistant coach for 1 year, and was a really good team. Had a lot of young players, like Mike Weaver and Mike York, both ended up making the National Hockey League. I'd actually received a job as a head coach, but I kind of wanted to learn the league, so I took an assistant job instead. And then I moved to Bramalea the year after that, and we had a really good run, about 4 years. They were like last place team when I took over, and we went to first and then to the Royal Bank Cup, which is the kind of the Canadian Championship. Started getting some interest from OHL, and then the next year I went to Vaughan, and they were last place. We ended up finishing first, and I think we lost in the final that year, and then I got hired by the London Knights. So, I was the first guy that the Hunters hired in London. Now they really built that into a storied franchise. So I was there for 3 years. Moved on to Lethbridge in the WHL.
Yeah.
Then came back. Mark approached me, Mark Hunter from the Knights again, and asked me if I'd be interested in being the director of scouting for London, and did that for 5 years. Went to 4 Memorial Cups, and then got on board with the Leafs as their Ontario scout, and was there for 2 or 3 months, and then got promoted to the director of scouting.
Yep.
So I did 4 drafts there with the Marner, Matthews, Littlegren, and Sandine drafts. And then from there, got an interview in Arizona with the Coyotes for the director of player personnel. Ended up doing the interview, but I didn't get the player personnel job. I got the assistant GM. So kind of got upgraded after the interview, which was a nice thing.
Not bad.
And we're there for three years in Arizona. So and then on kind of we had like parallel business going with the pro hockey development group, which I started in 1992, which was, at this time was some spring teams and mostly hockey development, hockey schools and private training and such.
Yeah.
And then kind of morphed that into like doing tours and tournaments all over the world, and kind of the business really has grown over that time. So, happy about and proud of, what being able to accomplish there. And then you have another business, Highlights Sports, where we do video for NHL players right down to minor hockey guys. And then you might have seen some of the fuel up shake companies in the rink.
Oh, yeah.
That's partners with Jake Goldberg, who's with Los Angeles Kings, assistant GM there. And just purchased the Best of the Best hockey tournament and the Throne hockey tournament. So there's 4 or 5 different things going on now, business wise, as well as kind of keep getting drawn back into coaching. I coached the Toronto Junior Canadians 3 years back, won the OHL Cup with that team. Jake O'Brien was kind of the main player there that people know. We went in the first round last year to Seattle. And then Barrie Colts the next year got coached, dragged into that. That was a very good team too. They won the Red Hat, the OMHA. And then last year, the Toronto Titans that was ranked either 1 or 2, probably 2. I think Don Mills was the top ranked team, but we were usually number 2 ranked through most of the year. So, and this year just been traveling on and off. So just in the Bahamas for a couple of weeks, and just got back from Italy a couple of weeks ago. So kind of happy to make use of the kind of some spare time and do some travel, and that should be tied up for the parts of the last 3 years coaching and whatnot. So.
Yeah. Wow, good for you. What a phenomenal resume, and I would say experience for you. I'm also a Northern Ontario boy from Kapuskasing, Lindsay. If you can.
Oh wow, you make me like I'm living in Florida. You're way.
Oh yeah, we go on vacation in Sudbury if it was nice in the summer. That's it. But I played hockey growing up myself, mainly outdoors like you did. Started and I never continued with it. But man, what a phenomenal run that you've been having. And it seems you also had a good win this summer over at the Brick tournament, did you not?
That was after doing everything kind of like at every level of hockey, that was kind of like a giant highlight. We've won it before. We won it with the 2004 age group. Had a really good team with Shane Wright and a number of other guys that are in the NHL now. But last year we had a special group, and we beat BC in overtime in the final. And a young kid, Burke, was scored the goal, and just a phenomenal goal. Got a lot of media play, and great kid, great family, and we had a super group, and it was a big accomplishment for sure for everybody involved.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's look, you guys compete every year in that tournament, and always seem to put together a really fantastic squad. So congrats again on taking that team up to a big W in Edmonton. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a bad run. You think about that. It's competitive though, right? Like as great as the talent is in the greater Toronto area, right? You see the talent across the country, and you've seen it before. How are you finding the parity, I guess, with the sport? I mean, there's always going to be really fantastic players in every sport, but how are you seeing the level of the game, with I say that word parity, but how are you seeing it, Lindsay, across the country or even North America, with the U.S. starting to dominate a bit more? And how are you seeing the different levels of play? You see it pan out a bit more?
Great question. Because I think things can creep up on you in that regard. Like, I think last year was the first time that the U.S. had actually more registered hockey players than Canada did. So I find that like the traditional hockey markets in the U.S., Minnesota, Detroit, Boston, we're always like, at par, depending on the year with some of the top Canadian teams. But now I really see like the growth in the sport, like, California, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, those areas now, like you said, the level of play has really improved. And so the gap between those traditional hockey markets and kind of the new hockey markets has really tightened up a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to, I love your story coming through. You're driving down Highway 7, you're seeing an ad for coaching. What inspired you to want to coach? Was it just, I know everyone has a different answer, but what was it for you where you had to call and say, I want to put my hat in the ring to coach his kids?
Yeah, I really didn't know what I was doing, to be quite honest with you, because I had no idea about kids. I just got out of university, so I didn't know really what I was getting myself into. Yeah. I think I always had a calling to do it. I always loved the sport. I love the competitive aspect of athletics in general and team sports. So I think it was just a natural calling, but I got so into it and so involved in it that it just became my profession. So I left my job. I started a company that afforded me the opportunity to spend more time in coaching and player development. Which just kind of happened.
It's amazing.
Organically, I guess, in some regards, and the universe guided me in a certain path, and I followed it and worked as hard as I could to achieve what I was able to achieve.
Yeah, no, listen, that's fantastic, and sometimes that's really what it is. It's a bit of a calling, and I love that. I think for the most part, a lot of the folks that I've been able to be around in the game of hockey, they always start with why they love coaching is they love the sport so much. It's it's the best sport in the world, and they want to be able to take that passion that they had and hopefully be able to help other people get more out of themselves, right, through the experience. So,
and I think the passion's the big thing. if you're passionate about something and you have some skill in that, you're going to enjoy it, and that's going to in turn, be recognized by the people that you're working with, and it's going to afford you the ability to have a pretty fulfilling life or career in that regard. So,
Yeah, for sure. And that would have been a big deal back then with Vaughan. If I remember, like they were probably one of the first teams, like north of the city, like back in the '90s. I would think, right? Like,
yeah, we were like kind of came out of nowhere.
yeah,
We were like kind of. I remember like we played Wexford Raiders, if you remember. They were became, I think, the Toronto Titans now.
okay.
But they were like a powerhouse team, and I swear to God, they had probably like a 6-inch height advantage on us overall, like per player. Like they were massive, but we were very skilled. We'd been together for 3 years. I coached that team for 3 years.
Yeah.
And we had Mike Weaver, who played in the NHL for about 12 years, an undersized defenseman, was the top defenseman in the tournament and the MVP of the tournament. He was like all world in that. Like he was probably the best performance of any level that I've been coaching at for a guy to play as well as he did over that, the course of that tournament. And he kind of, carried everybody and
Right.
on kind of his back, and then everybody kind of pitched in at the same time. We ended up beating Ottawa in the final like 5-1.
Wow.
So it wasn't even close, and we beat Wexford, that was supposed to be the top team in the round robin, I think 5-0, and then 5-1 in the semifinal, something like that. So yeah, it was a pretty special team, and I still keep in contact with a ton of the guys on that team. And another thing that happened with that team, a lot of those guys actually became coaches.
That's all right.
Yeah. So I had a lot of guys that I coached and that ended up, after they were done playing, that got involved in hockey and became coaches and whatnot. I'm kind of proud of that too, just as much as the guys that have, went on to play and had careers in hockey or gone to, school through hockey or the OHL. They're all like huge accomplishments. But the fact that, that guys, have the love of the game and they want to give back to, it's like rewarding.
Yeah, I would say that it's always a great sign of I would say a good leader, right? When you're able to develop other leaders. It does. It's a good sign of character for sure. It's my experience anyway. I work a lot in the sort of business, technology world. This is my full-time job. But I'll tell you, it's nothing more. I lead a sales team today, and nothing more. I love seeing someone absolutely doing the great part of their job, and then getting a promotion. Right, being able to help someone else take their whatever next step in their career, whether that's in hockey or business or whatever. So
yeah, there's a lot of crossovers from the industry, and even in the National Hockey League when I was in Arizona, we did a lot of like meetings with we'd have like a monthly meeting with the different major league sports teams. So we would, like, the Denver Broncos were in, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we'd have like a meeting, and then we'd discuss like some of the simple similarities, some of the different things that we did. And we also went to San Francisco the one time, and we met with BlackRock.
Yeah.
And with all the different sports teams, with all the BlackRock, the quant guys, all their, and then we had and some of those guys are way above my head. Like they were talking a different language. Some of the guys from BlackRock, but there was some, similarities and crossovers you can learn from, different experiences and different people, like you said. So
100%. Yeah, 100%. Well, that's wicked, man. So Pro Hockey 1992, was that, obviously the world of hockey is much different today than it was then when you started it in terms of your business, your venture. You've mentioned, some of the obviously private training and development. That's obviously continues to be a key part. Your spring, summer programs that you guys are delivering, were those kind of the core, I would guess, kind of two tenets of for you to start your business back then, Lindsay? Was that the really?
Yeah, yeah, to start it, that they were definitely,
Yeah.
and getting into business too. Like I made every mistake you could possibly make, not knowing much
Sure.
about it. So
I love
it just was like trial by error, and then over time you become pretty seasoned in what you're doing when you're doing it for
Yeah,
33 years. Yeah, and then the industry has evolved now into like there's major companies that are involved, and we're still one of the leaders in that field. And yeah, more tournament based, more like tours. I think we're doing like 11 European tours this year with the girls and boys, and that's another thing too. Like our girls hockey now is like massive. That whole aspect of hockey has really developed, and there's just tons of opportunities for girls now. We do a world invite for the girls in Toronto every year, and then we started the Rose Series in Edmonton at the mall, which is basically the brick for the girls.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was just saying, I was going to bring this back right there. I mean, you guys were probably one of the first pioneers in getting girls and women's hockey involved in in the sport in general. I don't know if there were many places to compete, right, for girls to play.
No, it's really evolved, and I see more and more girls playing, and I see the level. It's like you said too, the level of play within the girls and the amount of girls that are playing has really, really improved over the last 10 years. Like it's come leaps and bounds.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, you see the evolution with the PWHL. You see, what you guys are doing, obviously, and offering. So it's fantastic. What you guys would be able to do.
Yeah, it's been a big addition to the business, and it's just fun to be able to offer some of those programs to kids and families that are going to be memories through their, some big memories for them through their whole career.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. What are some of the, you said some of these lessons learned, how the game has evolved or has changed. What are you seeing today that's maybe different than the game was, when you started your business, or even 10, 15 years ago? How have you seen the contrast to what's available today on the ice?
Well, the game's changed completely because it was so violent before.
Good point.
Even when I was playing, there was like 6 guys that could play, and there were 6 guys that were trying to kill the guys that were trying to play, and there were 6 guys that were trying to protect the good guys from getting killed by the guys that, So that element is out of the game. I mean, now it's like speed. The athletes are, trained to a level that wasn't even thought of nowadays.
No.
Or back then, sorry. So I think the off-ice training, nutrition, the availability of people that can help you improve as a hockey player has just pushed the game forward in its skill, like very, like the skill levels, it's just much, much higher.
Yeah.
And I think having kind of that, back in the 70s and even 80s where it was, very, very difficult in the playoffs, even to play. Went through a lot of different rule changes in the league, even from clutching and grabbing that went on. Oh, yeah. So it's more a free-flowing game, and plus it's a worldwide game now too. With the NHL's got players from like everywhere. Like I flew into Paris when I was with the Leafs to scout a player that was playing in the French league, who actually ended up being, I think it was a first-round draft pick too. So you would never see that. And then I want to go and watching a couple games there. Like the rink was packed, and there was a whole bunch like different rinks that I went to there that they're pro league, and they hockey has just spread everywhere around the world, and really good to see kids playing it everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're very blessed also in Southern Ontario, or the Greater Toronto area, the Mecca, I call it, of hockey. Everyone seems to gravitate here if they, for some reason, everyone, it's a big market. Probably it's the biggest in the world by far. But
Yeah, nothing like the Toronto Minor Hockey League,
where is it?
like minor hockey community. Nothing's like,
There's nothing better. I love it.
Yeah, it's very, everybody's into it. So
Yeah, I've had my son played OMHA, his earlier minor hockey, and we've been in the G now. What a contrast. There's nothing more I love than seeing all of our friends at, the rinks, Chesswood or whoever, Westwood, all these places. It's just such a different vibe than playing anywhere else, to be quite honest, until you've been.
Yeah. No, great. Yeah. It's a great league.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know about that fuel up shakes. That's awesome. We're going to keep banging those at the rinks. That's fantastic.
Yeah. keep doing that.
No question. That's great. Yeah, well, listen, hockey's in your family too. You got a son who's following a bit of your footsteps. Sounds like, with scouting. Is that right?
I've got like two of my cousins played, as well as my brother and myself.
Yeah.
My cousin played in the NHL with Buffalo and LA. My other cousin had a tryout with LA. He went back and got his master's in university, but he got a full ride to Clarkson. My son Cal's coaching in Flint in the OHL.
Yep.
And my stepson Adam is a agent with Ian Palver and Johnny Walters. So yeah, everybody's in the hockey business. So
that's awesome. Gotta keep it in the family.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do it. Good for you. That's awesome. Obviously, they have a passion for the game, as you do, and you did. So good for you, man. That's great to see. I guess what's some advice? You talk to a lot of parents. You talk to a lot of kids. What's some lessons learned? I guess you had, Lindsay, some wisdom you'd want to share with anybody out there on, minor hockey, or the journey that their kids are going to go through, that they're going to go through, right? The ups and downs. I guess what are a couple of big things that come to mind for you if you had some advice for people looking to keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think one is, I sometimes see parents that are very passionate about hockey in their child's career, but the kid is not as passionate.
Right.
So you're kind of wasting your time, basically. That would be one thing. If the kid's the one who's got to play, he's got to want it. And you need to have that passion, because it's a hard game. And then for the people that are, that have that ability and they want to make hockey their career, you've got to be able to do something that somebody else is either incapable of doing from a skill perspective or a size perspective, or that people don't want to do. And there's Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid. Those guys are kind of born into it.
Yeah.
They're not really manufactured, but you can manufacture a hockey player if you have all the ingredients. But you might be a fourth line guy that plays 10, 12 years in the National Hockey League, blocking shots and finishing your hits and playing like a very, simple kind of game.
Yeah.
But you can do it. And you see players of all shapes and sizes that go play in the NHL, but usually it's based on their attitude and their conviction to the sport and getting things done. So I have always told anybody that I coach with, you can basically do whatever you want in hockey if you apply yourself properly. But for player A, it might take 5 hours a day of work to get it done, and it might take another guy 2. But if you're willing to put the work in, you can close those gaps, and you can get a job done. So and get a job making a living in hockey. So
I like that. Do something you're incapable or other people don't want to do. It's perfect.
That's what I came to, and all my history of players. That's kind of how I came up with that.
I like that. That's good. 100%. Well, I mean, you've been a part of some pretty historic, teams over time. So that's great analysis, great advice. Let's talk a bit about your, the, there's spring, summer programs. We participated in them in the past. We will continue with my son next couple of years while he can. But you guys always seem to do a really great job in the fact that you have the Throne now. That's a brand of yours. That's phenomenal. That's a new thing this past summer, Lindsay? Is that this year?
This was our first year that we bought it. Yeah,
first year.
So
Yeah, okay.
It was the first year we ran it. Joshua Ross had it before. I think he had it this kid was a 2010, so I think he ran it for 5 or 6 years previous to that. So
okay, nice, right on. Yeah, we've always had a good time competing there. My son's a goalie and loves the level of competition, I guess, that he's up against. What have you seen? I know some old people, a lot of kids play multi-sport. I know a lot of kids do other things in the summer. My son doesn't. All he just loves playing hockey. I can't keep him off the ice. So kudos to him. But what would you say is some of the biggest benefits or advantages that some of these kids can come to expect from the spring summer program working with Pro Hawk?
Yeah, I think number one, quality coaching is key. You want to get something out of everything you do. And then the big thing is just an experience. I find people are sometimes too focused on the end result and not the journey. But when you look back at your career, a lot of the things that because you're a good player and you get invited to go to Europe or you get invited to go on the brick team, these are massive things that you can have an experience with that are going to enrich, the overall experience of playing hockey. Because I get guys they're just, my kid's got to make it, he's got to do this, but they lose focus on what's important, and then they take something that should be an enjoyable experience and they make it a very stressful experience. And they that's just the focus on how they look at something. And I think that the better way is just the journey and put everything you can into it, work hard, but it is what it is, and enjoy a lot of the things along the way that because you're a good player that you're gonna be offered. So
yeah, I like what you said there about enjoying the journey, right? And I see it too. You see it, a lot of parents really putting a lot of this emphasis on, like you said, sort of the end result, right? Well, you don't control the end result. You're not playing the game. Your kid is. And if they don't love it, you know what I mean? It is about the experience. It is about the kids having fun, because I think that's what they remember, right?
Yeah. And the expectation of the parent, they put a lot of money in it and time into it, that their expectation should be that my kid puts the effort into it, and that's it. But I mean, if some other kid, that's one thing that I found too, that over time, which is a little bit of a negative, and I felt our brick team was different than that last year. That people aren't as happy for other people that are doing well, because it might be number 7 that has a great game and everyone's happy for him, and then it's number 10 the next game. It's not an inner competition of the team sport. And I found that was one of the difference. People were legitimately happy for the other guys' successes on the team, and that rotated. We had 17 really good hockey players, so everybody had their day kind of in the limelight. It wasn't it was just one guy. It got passed around and everybody got it, but they were legitimately happy, and I think it makes for a really good experience. For families, and it's the way it should be. So getting too wound up in yourself, you losing sense of humility, putting too much pressure on a kid when you said that you can't control the uncontrollables.
Right.
But if you just focus on, hey, my expectation is I'm going to put everything I have in to give this opportunity to my kid. I expect him to work hard. That's it. And if your kid doesn't work hard, you can deal with that, and the coach will deal with it, whatever. But the other stuff, that kind of where it should end. So
yeah, I love what you said there, the humility, right? I love what you said there too about that parent group being happy for other people's success, what a revolution. Like have empathy and cheer other people on when they're having, right, whatever, win or lose. I think it's all about, like you said, the kids getting better, and it's their game. We just pay, and I come with myself, the bank, and the Uber driver. That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Been there, done that too. So.
yeah, you have. You know what that's like, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think the sport, there needs to be a bit more of that humble, hungry humility out there. I don't know, maybe.
I find it even as a scout, scouting athletes, and I found that was like one of the things I looked for in players. And I coached over like 200 guys that have gone out of the National Hockey League. So I actually believe that it's like a very valuable character trait for hockey players, because some of the best guys I've coached like had a lot of humility. Yeah, and they understood. They came from really good families. They had strong values, and they kind of followed those.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. And you brought up a good point on the scouting side. You've done it at crazy levels, the highest levels. There's always going to be phenomenal athleticism, skill. Like you said, there's going to be things that, gifts that are given to some athletes that you can't ever earn, you can't ever develop, right? But, as you're looking at scouting, and you're looking at, kids who are going to, say the OHL as example, the Knights organization, or, the U16 guys who want to get drafted, right? Then you had a team. Was there last, I know Titans were U16. Did you have, was Barrie and JRC, were U16 too, Lindsay?
Yeah, they were also U16.
Okay, U16 guys. So you've seen this before. Like, what are these guys, what are the scouts, what are they looking for, I guess? What are the yellow lights or yellow flags or green lights and green flags are looking for with people they want to bring into their organizations?
Yeah, I mean, every organization's different, but there's a few things that are not going to be discounted by anybody. That obviously talent, size is a huge thing too for certain things, because you can't teach it. And like scouting at the OHL level and scouting at the NHL level are two different things, two different animals too. Yeah, it takes a little bit of understanding on that. But for the NHL, in my history, I think you have to have a couple of check marks on certain things that are just at the NHL level. And so you might be 6'3", 220 pounds, check mark, you got NHL size. Right. I think the average guy this year is like 198 pounds, 6'2" in the National Hockey League. So that's average. So you have that. So then you got high compete level and a great shot. There you got 3 check marks. You're probably going to play. If you have 2 check marks, you might not. If you have 1, probably not. If you got, 4 or 5, then you're going to be, Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner or somebody like, So just having some things that are just super high end are going to be the separating factors. Because if you're a 3 out of 5 on everything, you might be a great junior and a great player, but you won't play in the National Hockey League, because someone is going to come in that has 3 5s and or 2 5s and 3 3s, and that's going to be the deciding factor at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Well, listen, man, we covered a lot. What do you want to share with anybody? You have anything else you want to share with the audience or the people out there, Lindsay?
I think we covered everything. I would just say, hockey's a great game. You're going to meet a lot of great people, and enjoy the experience. Put yourself into as many things as you can that are affordable for your family, and grab those experiences. And then if you do have the passion, work as hard as you can, and surround yourself with good people and good coaches, and yeah, your dreams will come true.
Yeah, I love that. Well, listen, thanks again for being able to spend some time with me and wanted to do this. You were one of the first 8, so the 8th episode, Lindsay. People we've had a chance to interview. So Gary
lucky
Roberts
number.
was lucky. That's it. We had Gary Roberts last week. We'll put him up next week, and then I've got a bunch of other guys coming in the pipeline here.